Thank you very much for coming here today. On April the 23rd, 1910, at the Sorbonne in Paris, Theodore Roosevelt gave a speech on the responsibilities of a good citizen. In it, he urged people to have the courage to strive to make a difference. In that address, he said this: "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood." I would echo that sentiment in my climate and society courses at the University of Victoria, when my students came to me distraught about the consequences of global warming. Vote for representatives who are willing to do the hard work to address climate change and support the policies, I'd tell them. Or if there are none on the ballot, consider running yourself. Watching with dismay as our province slipped from being a climate leader to a climate laggard, I eventually and reluctantly realized I needed to follow my own advice. It's long been my belief that those who seek public office should do so out of a sense of civic duty rather than choose it as a lifelong career. And you and I both know many examples of that. In stepping aside from science and academia to enter the political arena in 2013, I hope to correct our emissions trajectory and prove that doing so would benefit the economy at the same time. The foundation of this minority government is climate action, best represented by our work, our collective work on Clean BC. That is our economic plan to build a thriving, climate-responsible and climate-resilient community. I've long said it is time we reimagine the climate crisis as not solely as an environmental issue, but as an incredible opportunity for innovation, creativity, and the advancement of our society. While there is still a long way to go with Clean BC, it offers us the best starting place we've ever had. And I want to thank the Minister of Environment. And I would like to get this off the stage, please. I guess, with apologies. I want to thank Minister Heyman and Premier Horgan for their earnest cooperation and collaboration on helping put that roadmap back in place. I've taken significant time this summer to reflect with my family on the reasons why I sought elected office, as well as why I sought leadership of the BC Greens in the first place. It is with all of this in mind that I announce that I will not be seeking another term as MLA for Oak Bay Gordon Head, and have asked the chair of the Provincial Council to start the process of electing a new leader for the BC Greens in preparation for the 2021 provincial election. This is not an easy decision for me. There's a long way to go. At the same time, I feel a deep responsibility and pride for the role the BC Greens played in getting the province back on track to meet its climate commitments and to reframe climate change as an economic opportunity instead of purely an environmental issue. Millions of people, including many thousands on the lawn of the legislature and 100,000 in Vancouver 2 Fridays ago, are demanding politicians start acting to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This incredible movement is being led by youth, the ones who must live the consequences of the decisions that we make, and their momentum is growing. This is also one of the main, if not the main reason, why I believe it is time for the BC Greens to elect a new leader. It's time to let another generation take the lead. I've given everything I have to this work. Soon it will be time for me to step aside and allow a new leader to take what I have accomplished and make it better. Take it further and adapt it to the opportunities and challenges that the future will bring. I intend to remain as the leader of the BC Greens until a new leader is elected, which I expect will occur in the early summer of next year, sometime after the spring legislative session. In the months ahead, I will continue to work on a number of key climate policies, including an ambitious Climate Accountability Act, and doing everything I can to ensure that Clean BC is fully implemented. I'll continue to push the government to prioritize the policies that will allow us to reach our 2030 greenhouse gas reduction target, and I will continue to work with my colleagues in the BC NDP to accomplish what was set out in our confidence and supply agreement. Nothing that I am announcing today changes my commitment to work within this agreement and to see the delivery of our shared agenda. Stability of this government moving forward is my primary objective. For the party and for anyone that may seek leadership of this party, this is an incredible opportunity. The BC Greens have never been as organized nor seen such widespread support as they do today. Looking more broadly, we can all witness the rise of Green parties across the world, and certainly here in Canada. No point in history has ever had so many elected Greens in our country, and all signs point to even more being elected after the next federal election. The BC Greens have demonstrated that they are not only a positive influence on the legislature, but also an essential component of seeing real change in the policies that govern our province. It was only after BC Greens were elected that MSP reform was committed to by all three political parties, that BC banned corporate and union donations at all levels of government, that our attention returned to what is in the best interest of British Columbians rather than the vested interests of just a few, that an overhaul in the integrity and governance of this legislature commenced, and I commit to continue to work to ensure that that sees an end. We have seen this minority government advance significant change on professional reliance, minimum wage, lobbying reform, the emerging economy, and innovation. We have seen this minority government advance significant change on protecting wild salmon, ride sharing, the environmental assessment process, adult basic education, child welfare, child care, mental health, and the opioid crisis, to name but just a few. With environmental challenges mounting, the presence of Green representatives in the legislature has become all the more important. For example, just this past spring about representation in the legislature. I look forward to continuing the work that we have in front of us for the time being, and I look forward to welcoming a new leader sometime towards the end of this year. Thank you.